The rain had stopped, but the streets still smelled like wet dust and diesel. Outside a tall, quiet house in Victoria Island, a girl with tired eyes hugged her knees beside the gate. Her name was Grace. Her hair was wrapped in a small scarf. Her dress was clean but old. She watched the lights inside the big house and wondered how warmth felt on the skin. At the same time, a black SUV rolled up the street. Inside was Michael Adams, young, handsome, and already a millionaire by hard work and smart choices. He had left his office late, stopped by a small restaurant, and bought a big box of pizza to eat at home. His phone rang. "Hey babe," his girlfriend, Bianca, said in a sharp voice. "I need money. I don't like my car anymore. I want a new one." Michael sighed. "Bianca, we just bought that car a few months ago." She clicked her tongue. "And so? I need a new one. If you are not buying it, we are done." The call ended with a cold tone that cut the night. Michael's chest burned with anger. He parked, stepped out, and in one quick, foolish moment, he threw the pizza into the bin by the gate and stormed inside. Grace stared at the box like a child looking at the moon. Hunger pinched her belly. She checked the road, then tiptoed to the bin, took the box, and opened it with shaking hands. The smell made her eyes water. She took a slice and ate fast, whispering "Thank you, God." The front door opened again. Michael, still hot with anger, saw her. He rushed out. "Hey, that's mine." He grabbed the box from her hand and, without thinking, tossed it into a puddle. The slice in her hand dropped. Grace froze, shocked, cheeks burning with shame. I'm sorry," she said softly, eyes filling with tears. Michael's jaw was tight. "Just go." She walked away quickly, hugging herself to hide the shaking. He went back inside, but the house felt colder than the rain outside. Michael sat on the living room sofa, hands on his face, heartbeat loud in his ears. The anger was gone, and what remained felt worse, guilt. He remembered the way Grace's shoulders had fallen, the way her eyes held words she didn't say. He had never done anything like that before. He had worked hard to be a good man. But tonight he let his pain speak for him. "Michael," a voice said gently. His mother, Mrs. Adams, stood at the hallway door. She wore a simple silk robe and the calm strength that only mothers carry. "Why did you speak to that girl like that?" Michael looked down. I was angry." "Angry at who?" she asked, taking a seat. "At your girlfriend or at a hungry girl who did nothing to you?" Her eyes were soft but firm. "I did not raise you to empty your anger on the weak. That girl is somebody's daughter. If not yours, she is mine." The words hit him like a mirror held in light. He swallowed. "Mum, I was wrong." "Then fix it," she said. "Pride cooks a small meal and leaves you hungry. Humility cooks a feast." Michael jumped up and ran outside. The street was quiet. No sign of the girl. He walked to the next corner, checked under the bus stop roof, asked the night guard 2 houses away. Nothing. He came back, opened the gate, and leaned against it, the city breeze touching his face like a small forgiveness. "Tomorrow," he whispered. "I will find her tomorrow." Morning came with noisy birds and vendors calling out bread and eggs. Michael dressed in a simple shirt and jeans, not his usual suit. He walked the neighborhood, asking the women selling tomatoes, the men pushing wheelbarrows, the keek drivers waiting for passengers. "Do you know a young girl, slim, with a scarf? She sleeps around here." An older woman with warm eyes pointed toward a narrow alley by a small church. "Check there. She keeps to herself." Michael followed the path and found Grace seated on a low step, her arms wrapped around her stomach. She saw him and stood quickly, fear and fire in her eyes. She took a step back to run. Michael raised his hands like a man dropping his weapons. "Please, don't run. I'm sorry." Grace's mouth parted. Millionaires did not say sorry to girls who slept outside. "Are you serious?" she asked, voice small. "Yes," he said. "I was wrong. I let my anger speak. It wasn't about you. I'm truly sorry." Her eyes softened but stayed careful. He glanced around. "Have you eaten?" She shook her head. Michael smiled a little. "Come. Let me buy you breakfast." No tricks. She looked at the church, as if asking the walls for advice. Then she nodded. At a nearby canteen, he bought warm jollof rice, fried fish, and a cold drink. She ate slow at first, then faster, then paused to whisper, "Thank you." He also bought her fresh clothes from a roadside boutique and paid for a small bathroom at the station where she could wash and change. When she came out, looking cleaner and lighter, she said again, "Thank you," not like a habit this time, but like a prayer. They didn't talk much after that. He gave her a small card. "If you ever need help, call this number." She nodded and tucked the card in her scarf. He left, and the street kept its secrets. The next day, Michael sat in his glass-walled office, Lagos shining outside like sunlight on water. His company, Adams Tech and Logistics, had grown fast. He had always dreamed bigger. For months he had been pitching a huge partnership to Northrop Global, a major company abroad. They never replied. Then, that morning, his phone rang. "Mr. Adams, this is Clarissa from Northrop Global," the woman said in a crisp voice. "We reviewed your proposal. We want to partner." Michael stood up so fast his chair almost fell. "Thank you. Thank you." They discussed timelines, joint teams, and the signing in London. Then Clarissa said, "There is one personal requirement. We prefer founders with stable family life. Our board believes family men keep long promises. Do you have a wife?" Michael paused. "No. Not yet. I'm sorry," she said. "We have had problems with young, single partners who chase thrill and not duty. If this changes within a few weeks, call me. Otherwise, the board won't approve." The call ended. Billions on the table, but a door closed. Michael stared at the city. He could buy cars and houses, but not this kind of trust. Bianca, the girlfriend who left over a car, flashed in his mind like a warning sign. He exhaled. In the evening, he drove past the church again. He saw Grace helping the church women sweep the compound. He parked and walked over slowly, like a man carrying a fragile cup. "Grace," he said. She turned. "I need to tell you something strange." He told her about the contract. He told her about Northrop's rule. "I'm not asking you to love me," he said carefully. "I'm asking you to help me. A marriage on paper. I will pay you well. I will also rent you a place. I will not touch you or force anything. It is only to meet their rule." Grace looked at her worn slippers. "Marriage is not a shoe," she said softly. "But hunger is a stone. Sometimes it sits on your chest and won't let you breathe." She asked for a day to think. The next day she came back, eyes clear. "I will help, but only if we keep it honest. We tell the truth to God. We will write rules. No harm. No lies to each other." Michael nodded. Agreed. They met a lawyer, registered a civil union with strict terms, and kept a copy each. It felt like strange air. But sometimes life gives new roads in ugly wrappers. A week later, Northrop invited them to London for due diligence. The company booked a hotel with large windows and quiet carpets. Before the flight, Michael took Grace shopping. "I don't want to change you," he said, "but people there will judge quickly. Wear what makes you strong." They bought simple, elegant dresses, a coat, comfortable shoes. "You look like yourself," he said after she tried a navy dress. She smiled lightly. "I am still Grace." On the plane, she watched clouds like mountains. "I used to sleep where I could see the sky," she said. "But from the ground." In London, Northrop welcomed them with polite smiles. Clarissa, the executive, asked many questions not only about profit and systems, but about character. "We value partners who keep people safe," she said. "We also believe in giving back. Tell me, what does family mean to you?" Grace answered first. "Family is not only blood. It is who stays when you have small and stands when you fall." Michael added, "Family is a promise you renew every morning." Clarissa nodded, but her eyes measured more than words. That night, while they ate fish and chips in the hotel dining room, Bianca's name flashed across Michael's phone. He ignored it. Minutes later, his assistant texted, "Sir, Bianca and the old secretary have been asking questions about the trip." Michael's face hardened. Let them talk, he said, but something inside him stayed awake. 2 days into evaluation, Clarissa called them into a large room that looked like a training hall. Our board needs one last step, she said. It is a trust and values test we give all founders and partners. Nothing dangerous. But it will show us what you choose when it matters. They agreed. The first test was simple but sharp. A senior actor, pretending to be a rude investor, insulted Grace's background. Why partner with a man who picks his wife from the street? He said loudly. Michael felt heat rise but kept his voice steady. Respect is the first rule in my life and my company. If you insult my partner or my staff, you insult me. We can end this meeting. Clarissa watched, hiding a smile. The second test was harder. Clarissa instructed her managers to notify Michael and Grace about an urgent board meeting. The meeting was supposedly to discuss a lucrative contract with the company's group. As Michael and Grace arrived at the conference room, they exchanged greetings with the other attendees. Just as the meeting began, a sudden commotion erupted. A fake thug burst into the room, pretending to rob everyone. Michael instinctively positioned himself protectively in front of Grace. The thug, waving a fake toy gun, cocked it and aimed at Michael. But before he could pull the trigger of the fake gun, Grace swiftly jumped in front of Michael, taking the bullet. The room fell silent, followed by applause from the stunned onlookers. Michael and Grace exchanged shocked glances. "What's going on?" Michael asked, bewildered. "Someone call a doctor." Clarissa stepped forward, a sly smile spreading across her face. "No need for a doctor. This was just a test of your love and commitment to each other." Michael and Grace looked at each other, then back at Clarissa, realization dawning on their faces. "And?" Michael asked, anticipation building. Clarissa nodded. "You passed. Congratulations, you've won the contract. We looked for love that protects, not love that poses," she said. "And we saw it." Bianca, who had secretly called Northrock to say the marriage was fake, was getting information from a junior staffer she had bribed. She expected a scandal. Instead, she watched the board congratulate Michael and Grace. She went to sleep with anger tight in her throat. That evening, Clarissa said, "We'll sign tomorrow. We believe in you too." Michael looked at Grace as if he had just seen the sun rise after a long night. Back in Lagos, drums of joy beat in Michael's company. Staff danced, clapped, and prayed. The Northrock contract meant new jobs, new buildings, and scholarships for staff families. Michael kept his promise to Grace. He transferred the money they agreed on, rented her a modest apartment near a market, and made sure it had good locks and a clean bed. He thought that would be the end, but the image of her running toward the exit, helping strangers, stayed in his mind like a song you can't forget. 3 days later, he stood outside her door with takeout packs of jollof and grilled chicken. She opened, surprised. "You found my place." He smiled. "You told me the color of your gate." They ate at her small table. He said, "Come work with me. We are growing fast. I need people who care." Grace stared at her hands. "I never finished school." "You finished life school," he said gently. "We will train you." She nodded slowly. "All right." The next week, Grace joined the admin team as a trainee. She learned computer basics, filing systems, and how to handle calls. She listened more than she spoke. She stayed late to practice. In 3 weeks, she knew the company's workflow better than some old staff. People liked her because she remembered names and brought water to security men during heat. Michael watched from a distance and felt a strange peace rise like morning mist. He was not falling in love with a story. He was respecting a human. Bianca did not sleep with peace. She worked with the former secretary, Daniel, who had been eyeing company secrets for months. "If we leak the Northrock details and steal the master copy of the contract," Daniel said, "we can sell it to a competitor." Bianca's eyes shone with revenge. "And Michael will lose everything." They started small, tiny lies, small rumors. Then they moved to bigger steps. One night, Grace was finishing a spreadsheet when she heard soft voices behind the server room door. She paused. "Tonight at 9. The master file is in the CEO's drawer." He leaves by 8:30, a man whispered. Grace's heart beat fast. She moved away quietly and walked to Michael's office. He looked up. Yes, Grace? She told him everything, voice shaking. Michael's face hardened. Be sure, he said. If you're lying to hurt Daniel, I will not spare you. The words cut, but she stood straight. I am not lying. He looked at her for a long second and then called the head of security. Set a trap. Silent cameras. Inform the police. We will leave the drawer slightly open. That evening, true to plan, Michael switched off his light at 8:30 and left. Staff also left in batches. Security pretended to relax. At 9, Daniel slipped in with Bianca. He opened the drawer with a gloved hand and lifted the brown envelope. We've got it, Bianca whispered. They turned and faced 3 police officers, the head of security, Michael, Grace, and the general manager. The hallway lights felt like morning on their shocked faces. Daniel, Bianca, you are under arrest for attempted corporate theft, the officer said. Bianca stared at Grace. You street girl, she spat. You ruined everything. Grace did not reply. Sometimes, silence is the best answer for noise. After the police took them away, the office gathered in the boardroom. Michael turned to Grace. I am sorry I doubted you, he said. Before, you saved my life without thinking how good or bad it would end for you. Today, you helped me save my company. He smiled with eyes that meant it. Thank you. The staff clapped. The next day, Michael asked the team to set up a staff appreciation event in the main hall. He wore a navy suit and waited behind the curtain. Grace arrived in a soft blue dress the HR team had bought for her. Mrs. Adams hugged her like family. When the music went low, Michael walked to the stage, picked up the microphone, and said, In our company we build systems. But people build us. This past month, one person taught me what kindness can do. He turned toward Grace. You once said family is who stands when you fall. You stood. I don't want to act like a family anymore. I want to be family. He went on one knee. The staff gasped. Grace put a hand on her chest. Grace, he said softly, I know our story started wrong. But I want to write it right. Will you marry me not for papers, not for contracts, but for life? Tears filled her eyes. She laughed a little, the kind that comes from relief. Yes, she whispered, then louder. Yes. The hall exploded with cheers. Mrs. Adams danced like a girl again. Somewhere outside the building, a small breeze moved the flag on the pole, as if Lagos itself nodded. Their wedding was simple but warm. They served jollof, plantain, and peppered chicken. The choir from the little church sang Blessed Assurance. Michael and Grace moved into the big house on Victoria Island. But Grace asked for one thing. Let us keep a room with a small shelf of bread and bottled water, she said. If anyone knocks hungry, we will feed first and ask questions later. Michael smiled. Done. Grace did not forget the street. She worked with HR to start a training program for young people without formal schooling. Teaching computer basics, customer service, and small business skills. Some were later hired by the company, others started small shops with seed grants. Bianca and Daniel faced court and learned that choices have doors that open to rooms you may not like. Michael visited the police station once, not to mock them, but to say, I forgive you. Do better when you come out. Life kept moving. Some days were easy. Some days were hard. But hard things feel smaller when 2 people pull together. A year later, Michael and Grace had a baby girl. They named her Hope. When Hope laughed, the house felt fuller than money could ever make it. On evenings when the sky looked like orange cloth, Michael and Grace sat on the balcony and shared stories, not of cars and contracts, but of people. The day I threw that pizza, he said once, I was the one who was truly hungry. Grace squeezed his hand. And the day you said sorry, you fed us both. Life lessons to carry. Pride breaks, kindness repairs. Family is not only blood, it is promise. Wealth is loud, but character is louder. When life tests you, choose to protect people first. Say sorry fast, it is the cheapest door to peace. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video. Comment your favorite moment. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss the next story that could brighten your day. Share with someone who needs a reminder that kindness can change a life, sometimes too.